We're back. Nah, because you had exams.
I don't have exams. I am heading into exams.
You're heading into exams, and I had trials, so we couldn't make it. We couldn't record anything. But yeah,
welcome back
We're
to
here now.
Minsifology. Wait, I got to search up. Where are we up to? Like, how many episodes have we done?
I think it's 17. Because I don't like this.
Just chill, bro.
Well, I don't like.
Well, it says 15.
Yeah, but we're releasing.
So we've got
16.
Yes, 17.
So this is the 18th.
Episode 17.
No, this is the 18th one.
No.
Because the next one's going to be part 1, part 2. So this is the 18th one, technically.
Yeah, all right, true. Yeah. But technically, part 1, like, it's one episode, so 17. Don't cheat the system.
Okay, bro. We mentioned school. I mentioned school.
Yeah, all right.
What do you think about school, bro? Because that is actually a very interesting segue into a lot of fucking shit that we can talk about when it comes to society. What do you think about
Bro,
school?
I was a nerd.
Yeah.
School was like it was paving the way
Am I in frame, by the way?
Yes, you are.
Continue.
Chill, bro.
Continue, bro.
I would have told you to lean back.
No, you
Put the
wouldn't.
mic. I would tell you,
we
bro.
literally got into episodes and we weren't even in the video,
Yeah.
bro. Yeah.
That was not my fault, though. That was my fault. That was
you
my
were
fault.
staring at the video.
Yeah, all right, cool. So, guys, let me put this shit up.
Can we restart?
We're not doing shit.
But this is, I don't like, honestly, this is very uncomfortable.
What is it?
Like, it's very uncomfortable. Like, it's not, I don't know what it is, bro. Like,
Because
I have to keep on fixing my posture. It's not looking at you. I have to keep on fixing my posture and like.
Can we start?
Look at my posture.
Wallah, عدل ما بي شيء.
Jadab.
Wallah al-azim.
Turn around. Let me see. What? My ass looks big.
Okay.
Look at my eyes. Seriously. Look at my eyes.
What were you saying?
All right. Yeah. School. Because I have some very interesting opinions about school.
Look, I always I've grown up a nerd. So for me, school was like always exciting because like I would study and I would challenge myself and just build discipline through that.
Yeah.
And for me, the kick that I was getting is just getting top grades and making sure I beat everyone else.
Okay. So it was like a competitive thing for you.
Yeah, it was always competitive. So for me, school served the purpose of education in terms of actually building discipline. And it paved the way to my career.
So it's less about I want to learn a bunch of cool shit. It's more just like I want to be able to learn a bunch of cool shit. Like I want to be disciplined so I can learn a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Yeah, I would agree in that it does teach you discipline. But I don't think we go to school for discipline.
Nah, I think.
So what do I go to school for?
Really?
2 things. Social.
Yeah,
You have to socialize your kids,
of
bro.
course, bro.
Right. But
Write this down.
the thing isn't I don't know the timestamp.
That's on you, man.
It's facing you. I don't know. School isn't designed to make you disciplined. It's not, because school. How do you define discipline?
It's doing the same thing over and over again, even when you feel like not doing it.
But is that for a greater good? Like, are you doing the same thing over and over again so you can achieve something cool? Okay, I don't think school's designed that way. Because originally school was, there was a specific, like a historian or philosopher that made the system. He based it off factory workers back in the 1800s, 1700s, in that you have the school bell. The bell designates you for like, all right, now you're going to eat, now you're going to do this. Mm. That was a fact. That was what they did in the factories for the workers. It was probably in the Industrial Revolution when they did it. And the periods, the timestamps and all that kind of stuff, that's all, disregarding exams and all that, that's practically all the system, that's practically the whole thing of the factories that they did back in the day. So I don't think it's aimed to teach you discipline in the way that we understand discipline now. I think it's more just, it's meant to teach you to become a worker. You know what I'm saying? All right, Andrew, take us, calm down.
No, I'm just doing this because I realize I have a...
Don't do that in front of camera. We're going to get cancelled. But, yeah, I actually don't think it teaches you discipline in that regard. I just think it teaches you to become a worker. It exposes you to a bunch of cool stuff, which I agree with. But the whole system of...
Well, it's designed to make sure you get a job at the end of it. It's designed to make the system, whatever government system is around, continuous.
Mm.
And what's the other word? It's a continuous system which generates back into society a good positive feedback. So that's why
Okay.
you educate the
That's fair
population.
enough. So you educate them to expose them to this structure.
I guess to indoctrinate them.
Yeah, well, I mean, everything's indoctrination nowadays.
Yeah,
That word doesn't really like mean anything
Yeah,
nowadays.
yeah. Well, it is. It's a form of indoctrination where you, well, because okay, think about it this way: what if you don't educate your children?
Well, and then you got to mean by what do you mean by education?
What if you don't send them to school?
But they can be educated without going to school.
Yeah, okay, but at a young age, not every parent is aware of that. Not every parent knows how to educate.
Yeah, but
kids.
we live, bro. Like we live in the information age, bro. We literally live in the information age where we have this machine that we have more access now than more access to things and information and obviously it's like stuff that we shouldn't have access to, like porn and that kind of stuff, more than kings had back in the day. So there's no excuse for
I think like in terms of education and school, yes, it's definitely behind, way behind. It hasn't caught up. It hasn't caught up with the social revolution per se, which makes things a bit more challenging for our kids and you guys because you're bored when you go to school.
Yeah. It's taking this 6, 7, or 8-year-old and putting him into a room and expecting him not to move or talk and that kind of stuff. That's a very hard thing to do, and it just doesn't work out.
But the TikTok brains these days, I don't even know how.
It's not going to work out because originally, as I said, they made it in this structure of they're going to make workers who are reliable, who can benefit the economy. But now, what they should be focusing on is working on student strengths. Like for example, you have kids who are more creative, and you have kids who are more like quantitative, who are more in maths. You have to work on those strengths, and they give the excuse of like, oh no, but you can choose your subjects. Not really. You're not working on their strengths. You're just exposing them to content. You're not working on their strengths.
Yeah, but if you want to do this, you got to pump so much money into education, and every child will cost hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars to.
Not really. Like, that's true.
Because you'll need specific set of skills for each child, and potentially. Yeah, they probably all share like similar things in terms of interest. Like, I'm into creative art, I'm into science. Yeah. But that's why you have streams, I guess. That's why they offer you a bunch of subjects that you can pick from, and based on your interest, and then perform at. So the subject's already there.
So that's true.
If you're saying it's tailored, by definition, if something is tailored, it means it needs more attention and more resources. Where are you going to get that resource when you send a kid to a public school?
Of course. That's the issue. Yeah.
We're talking from a private school point of view, where we went to private schools.
It's a bit different. Private schools.
Different when you do have a bit more attention, one-on-one. You do have that because you're paying for the service, but the majority of the population can't really afford it. Yeah. So then you're left with the public system, which is overflown. I remember I had a principal coming in, and she was just exhausted. She was like, I have more than 30-40% of staff on sick leave or don't want to work. I have to go around teaching. I have to go around doing 50 different jobs because the system is breaking down. They're not supporting us. And it was one of like the worst, like it's like a public school. I'm not saying worst schools, but like it's a public school, and it's a very big school. And she was telling me like she was super exhausted and that she couldn't sleep at night. So then where are you left with those sort of?
I think in that situation where teachers go on strike and leave and that kind of stuff, I think that's more, the reason for that is more economics. It's more that the government
doesn't pay them enough to.
Yeah, the government really doesn't fund public schools at all.
Like even teachers should be getting paid better. If I send my kid to school and I hand over the responsibility of my kid to this teacher, then I think by default that teacher should be compensated appropriately. Yeah.
Well, look, that's the perfect world, but bro, like when it comes to stuff that happens in the world, like COVID, for example, we lost a lot of money during COVID. Like the economy in Australia, we lost a lot of money. So especially in our exports, like oil and coal, that's our biggest commodities. That's what we make money in. We lost a lot of money in that.
So we're still able to export it, right? Or not really? People were not able.
Like all the barriers for like international trade and globalized, they're all kind of shut off. So you could, but it was a bit weird during that time. But yeah, so the government lost a lot of money. They're trying to figure out how to remake that money. So what they're going to do, or what they're currently doing, is called it's like an expansionary fiscal policy, which means what they're going to do is they're going to pump money into industries that are more likely to make them money. So,
AI.
Yeah. Technology is growing. So technology, and then you have health, no matter what, they have to pump money into it, no matter what. And then you have
it's always growing. There's no way. People will never stop getting sick. So.
And you have commodities. So stuff that always makes the money, oil, coal, some sorts of foods. That's what they're pumping money into. So there's no money left for education.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So that's the issue of like. But when we go back to the issue of like how the structure is set up, I agree with you. It will be very hard to change it. I reckon it'll be very hard unless you get like someone like Elon Musk, Elon Musk actually opened up his own school and like started his own college and that kind of stuff. But
is it still based on the old system?
No, yeah, that's the whole point of it. He literally changed it so he works kids individually. Like practically every kid has his own teacher. Or something like
how much are you spending on that?
Well, exactly. He's nearly a trillionaire. So that's a
he opened it up to the top 1.11% of the public.
Exactly. Yeah. So that in that situation would be it's a bit different. But where do you think the education system now is going to go? If it stays the same,
it's just going to be the same. I don't think there's much going to change.
Do you think that with the development of AI and all this, and
it's up to the government to adapt and be like, oh well, this is all part of the system now. So they will eventually be forced to, I think, spend more money into it and change the curriculums, change the way they teach things. But I mean, every time you drive past a school, there's always expansion, there's always construction, there's always course. So they're doing all this sort of stuff. But again, like we still have one of the top educations in the world.
Yeah, well, we're up there with like literacy and mathematics and all that.
So we're still up. Like we're complaining from a first world country, but bro, like.
Yeah, well, but bro, like the first world countries are the ones that are leading the rest of the world. So I guess we kind of have to talk about it from. Obviously, there's issues with scarcity and that kind of stuff in the other countries, but like we have to talk about it from first world country because what other countries have the resources to fund the third world countries? You know what I'm saying? So like it kind of has to be us. Like it has to be us that look at it.
Yeah, we have to lead by example, pretty much.
But yeah,
well, like looking into the health sector. If it wasn't for Medicare in this country, we would have been privatized ages ago. Yeah. And you would have, like, because now, like, we're working in a very bulk bill center. A lot of the times, the patients are coming in are refugees or immigrants, people that can't actually afford like proper healthcare. Yeah. So this is where the Medicare serves this purpose. But in other areas, it doesn't really. People can't afford it. So I can still see the division. Like I can potentially refer someone to see a psychiatrist or see a specialist, but they still can't afford all the times to go see those people.
Psychiatrists are very expensive, aren't they?
Yeah, they're always going to be. Yeah. $300-400 an hour, like whatever, or whatever. Like you pay for that. It could be like a half an hour review, but that's how much you're doing.
Yeah.
But that's specialists. Specialists will always be charging that sort of money, which means. Yes, you get a bit of rebate back. Yes, you get a bit of a cutback, which is great for the patient. But in the majority of cases, patients cannot afford the gap. They cannot afford going to a specialist, and therefore they'll just rely on their GP to do most of the work, rely on their GP to make sure they prescribe the right medication. And when we refer them, they come back. They're not understanding what's going on. They're not following the regime, and then you've got to start again. So there's a lot of pressure on GPs to perform in these communities, and we're quite privileged to be here. But I can see with that Medicare, our system would have been privatized ages ago. Yeah. So that's one thing, like this is an example of the division between the middle class and the upper class in terms of just access. Like Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders is just another example, where a lot of them live in their communities and they either have a delayed access to health, or they don't have access to health because their lack of trust in the medical field, or they just don't understand it. So it becomes more and more challenging to even deliver medicine and deliver proper healthcare. So there's all these examples around us, but overall, we're still very, very privileged that we have the idea of Medicare, because there's only a finite number of countries around the world that still implement that. And we're still paying for it. It's around 1% to 2% of our tax budget or tax goes towards Medicare. The public and the public hospitals are overwhelmed. But what can you do? That's such life is.
Yeah, I think the alternate, which would be if it was privatized, then obviously a lot of people, or a small percentage of people, wouldn't get access to healthcare.
Then the insurance companies will be playing their game there. They will be making they'll be making millions and millions of dollars from that,
The
because
insurance companies.
yeah, because it's gonna switch over from just like I have like premium package which just gives me access to like certain things, to actually now you got to pay monthly installments, and they're expensive installments in order for you to be able to access healthcare.
Yeah. Well, even in that regard, like the insurance would become more expensive. So even then, people wouldn't get insurance because it's more expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
So the same thing would end up
and
happening.
you'll be forced to go to hospital. So then hospitals will get overwhelmed. So it's like, it's a very shit system if you go private.
Bro, but what surprised me is like that GPs like GPs who are training like straight out of like a residency at a hospital, they get paid like nothing, bro.
Oh yeah,
isn't it like 70 or something, 80?
I don't know. I can't discuss the numbers exactly. People can search it up and look at it.
Yeah,
but like
but it's surprisingly very low for them doing their service.
That's because you're still junior, like you're still getting trained, and you most of the times, like if there's something dangerous going on, you'll consult the senior. But again, it's all about budget allocation. You know what I'm saying? So eventually, as you climb up and you become more senior as a reg, second year registrar, like you get better pay, and then as you become a fellow, then you're charging whatever you're charging. But that's in all industries. Like just first year registrar as a general practitioner, you're just an intern pretty much all over again. So you're still baby steps, right? So a lot of times you will be consulting your consultant on site or your supervisor. So that's why they're relying heavily on the fact that if you're not making big decisions, then you shouldn't be getting charged.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
It does make sense, but there's always the challenge of making sure everyone gets compensated appropriately. That's just the system. That's the system. A lot of people choose to stay in hospitals and specialize, and people just do general practice.
But even the people that do general practice, or they're specialists and they open up their own kind of thing, people imagine them to be making millions and millions of dollars, which in some cases is true. But let's say they make those millions of dollars.
The majority don't.
The majority don't. Exactly. So we're talking about the not majority. Like we're talking about
the top tier jobs, obviously surgical trainees, surgical specialties like ENT, opthal, neurosurgery. Those are the top tier jobs that earns you like the top.
But you would just not have a life.
No, you don't. No. You're working 60, 80 hours a week.
Yeah.
So like it's long hours. Like you're making the money, but they're making the money by most likely like not having time with family, not having time for yourself, not looking after yourself. Not everyone does it, of course. I think there's a lot of people that are brilliantly good at it, but like hats off to them, whoever does it. And it's becoming more and more competitive, like with the CVs that you got to build and apply. So it takes anywhere from 3 to 5 years to get into any training programs after med school.
It's such a long process, bro.
No, it's just there's too many graduates and not enough training positions. They're pumping a lot of medical students into the universities, but they don't know that there's a bottleneck at the end.
Why is there not a lot of training positions?
It's decided by the college, because the college gets their funding from the government, and the hospitals pay for those positions. So you can only have a particular set number of trainees, depending on the number of positions available at the hospital. And these numbers are usually nationwide allocated. Like New South Wales, for example, may have 50 or let's say 10 trainees for a particular position. And the actual numbers of trainees that are allocated to each hospital differs as well. And also, that means you need to make sure people are actually finishing the training program on time as well in order for you to get new ones. Yeah. Because some will take time off, some will fail exams, some will have some personal things going on. So that will reduce the number. Like, for example, there's been cases like in ENT where they haven't taken someone for like a couple of years, maybe 1 year. Or there's like pediatric surgery, for example. It's a very niche specialty. There's been a couple of instances where there's been no one on the program because someone did not graduate and they just did not need them. So they just don't allow anyone. They're like, we're not like, you can apply. They're like, sorry, we're just not going to go.
So the issue is too many people are getting educated in medical school, for example, let's say.
But it's in every case. It's in every specialty. Psychology is the same, laws, same, engineering the same.
No, I wouldn't say engineering is the same. Lawyers is definitely the same. Lawyers is no one gets a job in law. But
like people get it, but you have to work so hard.
It's so. Because law attracts a very specific type of personality with men, which is just this hyper-competitive man who...
And women are also great at it, so...
Women, like, surprisingly, like, not even surprisingly, women, obviously because they're articulate and they know how to express their thoughts, women, there's actually more top-tier women lawyers that earn more than there are men top-tier lawyers.
Yeah, I would not be surprised. Same with medicine. Like, medicine is more like probably high 50 to like 40% women to men ratio at the moment.
Yeah, because those like law and medicine, they kind of...
There's a lot of more humanities and stuff in there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They edge on more of humanities instead of the STEM subjects, which men are just attracted to the STEM subjects.
Yeah. So like medicine is medicine. Like you're still, like I think surgery is still higher, more male sort of dominated areas. Yeah. Obs and gyne, that's probably obviously like 80% females, obviously by default, but they're trying to introduce more men back into it as well. So it's not like, it depends. It depends where people fit. But again, like all comes down to resource. Like you'll have more unaccredited registrars at the hospital trying to get into the program than obviously accredited registrars. And then you got to work your ass off. You got to, kiss ass, I guess. Tick all the boxes, then apply. You may not get in the first try, maybe second try. Orthopedics is also one of them. Very hard, very competitive. So it's all...
Maybe the issue is that, and this is like a very... it's an undersimplified statement, but maybe it's too easy to get into medical school. Because why would you have too many medical students?
What are you going to do then? You still have the highest ATARs. You still have this UCAT. You still have GAMSAT. You still have there's like 3-4 stages where you filter out so many people.
Exactly, but you have those grants for people who are living in less economically, development.
So you're going to get rid of those grants?
Not get rid of them, but monitor them more heavily because there's people. I'm pretty sure
they do.
There's people at school, bro, who are like putting their address under something else to get into that. There's always ways around it, bro. And there's grants.
Yeah, but like if you don't report it, you'll never find out. So what are you going to do about it then? Like what can you do about this?
Surely there's a way to make it harder to get into medical school. You have the UCAT, which is brilliant. You have the ATAR. ATAR's nothing, bro. ATAR isn't a crazy achievement where you'd have not a lot of people in there. I think ATAR...
Can you get a 99.95?
Yeah, but you don't need a 99.95 to get into medicine.
But how can you get a 99.95?
But you don't need a 99.95 to get into medicine.
Yeah, you can start off as low as 96, 95, whatever.
Exactly. So
that's still the top 5,000 students.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have... How many jobs are available?
Oh, no. They all get jobs.
Oh, okay.
We all get jobs.
So then what do you mean then?
People get worried, I'm not going to get a job. You're going to get a job. Like, they need interns. That's the problem.
Interns. But what about when they actually advance in their careers?
That's the problem. It's the bottleneck at the end that people don't talk about. Right? Like, I remember, I was an intern and I was telling those first-year medical students, I'm like, it's only going to get harder for me. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, med school is good. Like, it's easy. You'll get through because they want you to get through. I'm like, they're preparing you for internship. That's it. That's all they care about. Nothing else. That's where they stop.
After internship, you're like...
They're like, off you go, kiddo. You do what you do now, right?
Yeah.
So what does that mean? It means they're training you for internship positions to fill up the public spots. And then after that, you'll realize, what the fuck? Actually, what the hell? I'm either forced into GP. If I don't enjoy it, I'm going to try for something. If I don't work, I'll switch to GP. And that's the problem. People that are joining the GP program are not necessarily the right ones for it because they don't want to be GPs. They just wanted to specialize, just couldn't get in. So you have bad GPs coming into the program. Or people that are not really excited about serving the community in the right way. Right?
Yeah. So it's kind of, they're branching out into something that's even more negative than not getting
so it's
job.
Which means being a GP, I'm talking from a personal point of view and also very, I'm pushing for that right now because I've seen it. GPs do get burnt out very easily. You're seeing 3 to 5 patients an hour and you have 10 to 15 minute consults, right? You're expected to dissect whatever problem they have. You're going to miss things, right? And then when we tell them, hey, we need more support, we need more money being pumped into general practice, they just turn around. It's there's literally only enough people applying for general practice now, just enough places. So they used to be triple the numbers. Now there's only 1,000 positions for 1,000 places. And they're begging for people to be... So it's you're forcing people not to apply because they can see it's not really an appealing thing. But if you work on it and you focus on the communities and actually working inside the communities that are actually, they really need it, you'll make great money, of course. You'll make decent money. But people end up getting, sort of working their way through to other areas because they're like, I don't want to get burnt out. And that's the problem, you get burnt out. So I can talk about this all day because we experience it every day.
Capitalism, bro. There you go.
Yeah, it's like, well, fair enough. People have bills to pay. People have accumulated debts in medical school. So it's like you're forced into these sort of avenues.
What do you think of quotas then in industries where they're like, quotas is like, we need a specific amount of this type of person. So we need 20% of Aboriginal people in our company.
They need to. They need to.
It needs to be 50-50 men and women.
That's government policies.
What do you think? But I'm saying, like, do you think that's positive?
As long as they pick the right people for the job, yeah.
So do you think, like, let's say you're running a company and there's government policies that say, okay, in your specific industry, you need to have a quota of 50% women, 50% men.
Yeah, well, sometimes you may not pick the right man for the job. And in other cases,
but do you think that's right do you think generally that's a positive thing to have, quotas?
Well, so now you're jumping into more like equality. Right?
Not really, no. That's not much with equality.
Look, not necessarily.
It could be. You could.
Not necessarily the people that get into the jobs are the qualified, but sometimes they just need to, tick the quota.
That's what I'm saying.
So it could be like either way. It could be like a male being sort of meeting the quota, but he's not as qualified as the woman, and it could be the other way around. It could be also a woman being selected for the job that's not really, she's not qualified, but not as good as the male candidate. And same thing, it can go both ways. So you'll be forced to select it just to fill in the quota, and that's
gonna fuck it up. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. So like, those arguments manifest differently in different industries. In a STEM industry, for example, like engineering, having a quota is a terrible idea for an engineering company. Like, that would just crush it because.
But don't you think the women that pick engineering will obviously be more analytically focused?
No,
the ones that study that,
of course they will be, and they'll get jobs. But the fact that they're forcing people to be like, no, but women want this, without taking into consideration that men and women study different things because they like different things. When you don't take that into consideration, then you're kind of like crushing a society within itself, because they're aiming to go more egalitarian, which is like everyone has every chance to do everything, which we're pretty egalitarian. Even though like the fucking feminists will be like, no, we're not egalitarian, we're oppressed, but that's not true. Like the Scandinavian countries, they've reached the highest number of like egalitarianism.
And how are they doing?
The opposite effect of what people thought would happen. Let's say we expose, and it makes sense when I explain it.
People ended up drifting into what they like eventually.
Exactly. So the gender differences actually increased. They didn't decrease. People think now, the uneducated people think now that if we make our country more egalitarian, meaning we get everyone we're able to let anyone do whatever they want when it comes to study and what they want to become, then in their heads they think that, oh no, then it's going to be equal. But that's not true. Obviously, that's not true. So there's this issue of quotas, which is they're aiming to make it more egalitarian. They're aiming to make it more egalitarian through quotas.
I want 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Like they're aiming to make it like that without considering that it's going to make it worse. Like they're going at it the wrong way.
Yeah, look, you just got to let things roll. I don't
know, man.
Just see you through. I reckon see you through. If people are arguing and pushing so much for it, see you through it, man. Just see it. I'm like, all right, do you want to do it this way?
Exactly.
All right, yeah, like quality.
See what it does to your economy. You know what I'm saying?
Not economy. Let's just see the future of the generations to see how they're going to do. That's it. That's all you can do.
Not really, bro. You can argue from a side of logic, because by that logic, we would have these terrible policies. Like, for example, what is it? I was going to mention the Nazis, but the Nazis were actually very good in economics.
How?
He was just very good. Hitler was he had OCD, so he cleaned all the factories. You know what's interesting fact? The same poison that was used to poison the Jews was used to get rid of the rats in the factories.
Yeah, I know. I heard about that.
So that's a pretty interesting thing. But
so are you saying? Wait, let's just correct this, bro. Are you saying Nazis were good? In which way?
Okay, Nazis, as in like the country.
Let's just make sure
the country Nazis, not the people Nazis. I'm talking about the country.
So you mean The party.
The party.
Okay.
They were very
cool. Party.
The party.
The party.
Well, the country at the time, like the country was a Nazi,
Hey,
it was a communist party. So their economy, they're like
he's just going through his HSC.
No, this is not even, bro. This is modern. This is not even ancient. But Hitler did very good for the economy in Germany. He did very good for the economy. Some of the reasons for that weren't obviously terrible, but if you looked at where he started and where he ended, the economy did expand and it got better. But if we're talking about some of the ways that he did that and the other things that he did, then obviously, that just doesn't make any sense.
But what did he do that was so good about his economy?
So, okay, first of all, the factories. So the workforce was very messed up before Hitler came in. I think Hitler was under whoever was on top at that time. So the factories were very messed up. The workforce was very messy. So when he came in, he cleaned all the factories. He actually put flowers in front of the factories, which is pretty funny. Which kind of pushes towards that he had OCD. But he just cleaned it. He made it more humane for the workers. But he more shifted towards like he went to the extremes when it comes to quotas and that kind of stuff, which is like there's people that we can't let into the workforce.
Yeah, well, he united the population against one common enemy.
Well, multiple common enemies. Like obviously you have the Jews, you have the disabled people, you have even people who just weren't Aryans, like people.
And just like homosexuals as well.
Yes,
so
exactly.
He created that system. It was a perfect system for what he wanted at that time.
Yeah, exactly. So
it served his need, and then sort of got dismantled in less than 10 years.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
I find it interesting. I would love to actually study him as a case study for in psychology and how he was and shit. Because people really overlook these type of people like Stalin. Stalin was just pure evil. Stalin was different, bro. Stalin
killed everyone around him.
Stalin was so bad.
Stalin killed all his majors.
Yeah.
Like he had no trust whatsoever. There's an interesting Netflix personality show. Remember that one? Watch, it was like how to be a
dictator.
Yeah. And it was like one of the episodes was talking about Stalin and how he was so paranoid with everyone around him that he got rid of all his revolutionary brothers just to make sure no one overthrows him. And Saddam did the same thing, I guess.
Yeah, Saddam is interesting.
Saddam he didn't do the same thing because he went around.
Because how do you talk about him truthfully without distorting it
subjectively?
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm just trying to
just make sure I don't say the wrong thing. Dad just walks in here. What the fuck? That's wrong.
Saddam. No, I mean, bro, we lived well under him, so I can't complain. But I think what was interesting with him is he came in at a time where the Ba'ath Party was climbing up the ranks slowly.
Yeah.
But what was interesting about Iraq's history is that every stage where a new government came in, there was a major revolution and an overthrow of the previous government. In the most...
Oh, really? Even the ones...
Before it was all monarchy. Monarchy,
yeah.
They were overthrown by revolution and the whole, Melik Faisal, I think the second or whatever his name is, got, murdered and executed in front of his house, and then his torso was just, drove around. They did the most... they distorted the heck out of that the whole regime, and then then you had the political parties coming in, and that was slowly overthrown as well. And I remember one of the leaders was practically executed while he was live on radio, and they took a picture of him while he was sitting. He was literally dangling off the chair after 20 bullet holes. Ooh. And then the Ba'ath Party came in slowly, and Saddam was part of the major overthrow where he tried to assassinate one of the leaders, but he failed and he had to go to Egypt. And apparently at that time he was studying law, and then he came back, and then they overthrew, and then he was under the commander, and the commander, he was doing okay, but then Saddam was this, technically the vice president, so he was doing everything really. And then he just look, bro, just step aside. He couldn't say no. So he just came out public and he was like, I am becoming sick. I need to resign. And he did. And then Saddam took over from 79 onwards. And from 79 all the way to 2003. That was him. But what he did brilliantly was he knew the Iraqis very well. Like, he understood our mentality very well. He was these guys are fuckers. They will revolt. So sell it.
Yeah, that's because I just keep on referring it back to Hitler. That's what Hitler did, bro. Hitler,
I think Saddam obviously like studied these personalities and looked up to them, and he obviously looked up to them as examples, and role models. And Stalin, I think he was really a fan of Stalin more than anyone.
Yeah, because they were both like socialists.
So it was like Socialist Ba'ath Party. He united the Arabs at that time. He revolutionized Iraq in a way that he introduced its own airlines. The oil was private.
Oh, is it?
At that time, and then he what did he say? He regulated it. So it's more centrally run, that's good. Right? Yeah. So then all the money's pumping into the government. The economy improved, but at the same time, then he got into a war for 8 years with Iran, which was terrible. There was no need for that. Yeah, I'm like, bro, it was stalemate for like fucking 4 years. It was like, who's winning? And at one point, he called it was a win, but whatever. And then 2 years after, he's like, cool. You got bored. Kuwait for like 8-9 months. Was like, I am reclaiming this province as one of Iraqis. You can't fucking do that. But that's when everyone turned around against him. Like, bro, you're doing well. Like, egos just got on the way, and he really lost the plot because he had his entire family run the government. His entire family ran the whole government. Everyone from nieces to nephews to the brother-in-laws, everyone had a position in power there.
Yeah, well, fucking fair enough. Yeah, I mean, so
it was barcaded. Like, no one could get in or come out, right? But at the same time, the Ba'ath Party was very strict. There was a lot of executions, a lot of murders, a lot of genocide. Yeah. It was proven that he was somewhat an evil person himself.
Of course, right? Yeah, he was. Yeah, like I think.
But again, looking back, I think for that sort of country, you need someone because that's someone that يمشيهم على المسطرة.
Because now what you see now is just like a bunch of corruption. Every person that's in power isn't advancing the economy.
No, it's not. It's just for them.
It's for them.
And the seats are. The seats are bribed from one person to another. Yeah, they'll agree on a price and they'll sell the seat to the next highest bidder. So back in the day, they'll say there was one dictator. Now you have like 20, 30 dictators running around, each with their own party, each with their own accord, each with their own militia. So and half of them are ran by religious men, right? So that's the problem now, and the government and the country's just becoming worse and worse and worse and worse.
I think there's a misconception that Iraq is like poor.
No, it's one of the most. That's why there's so much wars and corruption because it's one of the wealthiest countries in the Middle East.
Like I remember,
you fucking dig stuff and oil comes out. Like, what else do you want?
You just poke a stick, oil comes out. But I remember Dad told me the story. When Iraq was thriving, this is before Saddam, I'm pretty sure, and it was like rebuilding, and they were making a lot of money. And I think at that point, oil was decentralized, but they were still making a lot of money from it. I think one of the royal Saudi families or the UAE family, like the monarchs or whatever, they went to visit Iraq, and like they came and they saw Iraq. They're like, "Wow, I wish Dubai." Or
and then he did the same thing with Dubai.
But to be honest, I don't think Dubai is gonna last that long
with this infrastructure at the moment.
Yeah, but it's not. They have a lot of sewage problems and they have a lot of shit that's going to just collapse because they're trying to do a lot of stuff that's very interesting. Like there was this one project, I think it was cancelled. It's called The Line.
The what?
The Line.
Like a khat?
A khat.
I do.
Like this. So basically what they want to do is they want to put up like millions of people in this just one like straight line like that.
Why?
Because it's more the ecosystem is more sustainable that way.
What do you mean put people in a line? So I'm not following.
So it's it's a block. So imagine we have a street. Obviously it's not a street, it's way bigger. But we have a street and it's like that, and there's walls that go up like you can't get over them, and people live within that space, and the whole society strives in that space. And there's trees and there's ecosystem.
That's like slavery, bro.
It literally, yeah. But they advertise it in a way where that's like, oh no, we're trying something. We're gonna see if it
But they didn't go.
But obviously, it was never going to work out.
Well, it's a desert turned into heaven, like, or whatever haven, like, like that doesn't really. It's not sustainable because you got to spend so much money to maintain it. Yeah, they have money, but these guys are never going to run out of money. Yeah, and it's relied heavily on by tourism and social media influencers, whatever, and the millionaires that come in there. Yeah,
I don't think it's going to last for a while because the biggest thing was the sewage problem. Like
I don't think they thought about it,
bro. Yeah, exactly. They didn't think they made. So basically, what they did, they made all these buildings, and then they forgot to fucking do the sewage underneath.
I'm pretty sure it's not that big. Search it up, bro. I'm pretty sure it's not that bad.
It's big, bro. Anwar was telling us about this. Remember?
Yeah, but like everyone says it, but where's like how bad is it? Everyone's claiming the sewage problem is so bad, but it's like okay, yeah. I've even heard people like the hotels have to dump the shit into trucks, and the trucks have to drive out. Surely not. Come on.
Watch, I'll show you. So read that. They only have one existing treatment plant for that kind of stuff, but
Dubai's only existing waste water treatment plant at Al Amir is operating well above its capacity, producing treated sewage effluent that falls below international standards. The plant, which was designed to treat 260,000 cubic meter a day of sewage, now treats 460. So they just have to find another way.
Yeah. Because they built all their buildings and they built the whole society, and they're like, oh shit, we forgot to manage where people piss.
But that's 13 years ago, man. I'm just seeing something.
Do you really think they would have advanced on that by now?
Okay, sanitation in Dubai. This is based on Wikipedia, obviously.
Yeah, but okay, all right, go.
There was many problems with the sewage before 2007, capacity and connectivity. But in recent years, Dubai monopolized.
I'm guessing.
Municipality. I don't even know.
Municipality.
Municipality. Okay, the government Dubai municipal. Okay, whatever. Has expanded capacity. Since then, Dubai had 1,200 kilometers of sewage pipeline network. An additional 80 kilometers was added in 2011 to connect Dubai Industrial City. So there's Al Awir plant, and then there's Jabil Ali plant. The first two phases of Jabil Ali were completed in April 2009. The project cost over, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 zeros. 5 with 8 zeros.
Billion something,
like
I don't know.
1,500 million. And covers an area of 670 hectares. It has a capacity to process 300,000 meters cubic of waste water per day. So they got stuff going on. So I don't know how bad it is, but
I'm not convinced it's going to work out, to be honest, bro. Watch, give it like 100 years. It's going to collapse within itself. Something's going to happen. There's no way a society like that is sustainable. There's no way. Without tourists and without tourism and all that.
Well, I'm just thinking, 90% of the groundwater in Dubai Emirat is saline. And some kinds is up to 8 times as much as seawater.
Saline, bro. The shit that we put in our eye contacts. And they're drinking that.
There are only 2 freshwater areas. Fucking hell. Natural groundwater recharge is estimated at 300 million cubic meters per year. Groundwater recharge. Artificial groundwater recharge was desalinated water. It was piloted in 2003. The recharge scheme is currently under construction. It's due to be completed by 2013. Yeah, bro, I don't fuck that.
Yeah. So again, it's
I mean, look, it's a work in progress.
It's a work in progress, but bro, it's not
sustainable.
It's not sustainable. So yeah.
All right, how about this? How about we call them up?
We call up Dubai.
Like, hey, bro, can you fix this?
Because wouldn't it be crazy? One day we have fucking the prince or whatever on our podcast.
Never know,
it's doable, bro. People have Donald Trump on their podcast now.
Yeah, I know, but you know,
like you have these fucking.
We gotta keep pushing, brother. Gotta keep pushing.
Yeah. We just have
4 or 5 years will be like Minsifology presents.
Just having fun, bro. Who knows? From the dead.
From the dead, climbing up.
What were we talking about? I keep on thinking about Hitler, bro. I can't stop thinking about Hitler.
About Hitler, bro.
Yeah, well, not really. There's a link between what people relating, people now that are popular in culture and politics and all that, relating them to people like Hitler. Like, for example, Jordan Peterson, which you told me ages ago, like, bro, he actually yaps a lot. And then I watched the lecture of him, like, bro, he fucking yaps a lot. But
right.
He yaps to the point where it's like, you have to try and catch on to what he's saying 10 minutes ago. That's why
and I'm like, bro, like, I swear to God.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah,
it's like, I want to sleep. I've turned him on.
It's a lot.
5 minutes, I'm like, I'm dead.
But there are gems.
Get to the point, man.
There are gems. Like, when he's talking, he's talking out of value. Like, he's not talking out of his ass.
I know. But like, I feel bad for the kids that were sitting through his lectures, bro.
He just talks a lot. That's what he does. But anyway, people relate Jordan Peterson to Hitler. Like, people who are that dumb are like, oh no, he's as bad as Hitler. And that's a problem. Because that doesn't make sense. Their values don't even...
Yeah, that's because people are not educated.
Yeah, and that's a problem, bro. That's a problem. Because if we allow that type of talk to happen, which we're allowing it, bro, we're allowing these people onto.
Well, you have TikTok, you have social media, you have Facebook, and people, a lot of unfortunately uneducated and less critically acclaimed.
Thinking people, yeah, that's critical.
Are there? So they're like, oh my god, this is true. Fuck, man.
Yeah. So.